Hey guys, welcome back to Plan Success today. Today I'm recording in my car because I was driving through my old neighborhood and it brought back a lot of old memories of how poor we were as kids and how my dad was the only person bringing in money and my mom took care of eight of us and we were on assistant program and we had food stamp and we were on the welfare program. I remember all of this. I remember getting free jacket and shoes and clothes from our local school because we were so broke or poor or live below the poverty level. And a lot of people out there are going through the same situation I went through when I was younger. And that does not dictate how you're going to be as you grow up, or does not dictate your future kids' lifestyle. Okay. But because you can make that change, but you're going to have to be willing to make that change. I know a lot of people say that, the environmental factor has a lot to do with your success. The parental factor has a lot to do with your success. And the education factor has a lot to do with your success, which is all true. Okay. I believe that the environmental factor and the parental factor has a lot to do with each individual person's success. Okay, the reason why I say that is because when you really think about it, the environmental factor is what you were brought in growing up. And that's all you know. So, for example, a lot of the Asian community, or for myself, I can't say Asian, but I'm going to say myself. I grew up in a family that was very unfortunate. We were living below the poverty level. My dad was the only one making money. We were on the welfare system. We were on the food stamp system. We had a lot of help from the government, and that's all I knew. And I thought it was okay, which it was, because being born in America, my parents were first generation, so they came here. They didn't know one word in English, and if they got that support, I am so thankful for that. But I paid my dues, right? Growing up, I went to college and graduated and got went to work and worked hard and then started my own business, and things start changing, right? But we have to realize that we came from somewhere and we cannot keep using the system. The more you use the system, the more you're going to rely on it. And then it's going to allow your kids to use the system. And then your great kids is going to use the system. And then your great kids are going to use the system. And the chain will never be broken. So today I want to talk about breaking that chain of poverty, and stop using the government system for support and find your way out of that hardship. I know a lot of people, they grow up very poor and they blame, again, like I said, the environmental factor and the parental factor, which is right. You can. But as you become older, you have to start realizing that you make the decision to affect your life. I mean, my parents, they didn't know anything. So they only taught me, hey, go to school and go get a good education so you don't have to work in the fields. You don't have to work so hard. That's what I did. Okay. Working hard is still there. It's just not outside in the hot heat or in the cold weather, but you still have to work hard throughout life. And yeah, that's what I did. So I went to school and got a good education, came out, started working. But I always have the knack for working a lot. And I'm always open-minded. So I always venture out doing different things, right? I want to make extra money, so I do this on the side. I want to make extra money, so I work odd jobs, I work weekends, I work nights, I work mornings. I can't keep still. Even now today, I can't keep still because I love a good work ethic. And I love what, that could bring to support myself, my family, and my loved one. So you can break the chain of poverty by working hard, but it requires a mindset change. And what I mean by that is, I know a lot of people don't get it. They're like, well, I can't because this is how I grew up. I grew up, challenged. I grew up with parents that don't care. I grew up in an environment where there's a lot of gangs and a lot of dysfunctional family. It's 100% true. You're right, and I cannot argue with you. But what I can say is this: how you grow up, you might not be able to change. Where you go, you can. And if you're refusing to learn something new, that's on you. If you're refusing to apply your work ethic and work hard, that's on you. If you refuse to tell your kids how to change your lifestyle, that's on you. And even if you don't have the resources, go out there and go learn from someone else. It's not that hard. But the refusal and the ignorant of not doing so will keep you in the chain of poverty forever. Okay, so if you want to break the chain of poverty and you grew up disadvantaged like I did, I grew up very disadvantaged, to be honest with you. I was so scared of the gangs, I didn't want to join. I was so scared of my parents, repercussion, basically, of what they would do to me if I go hang out late into the middle of the night. So I never did. All I did was I was a good son. I went to school. I graduated. I kept working. I stayed by myself. I was an introvert. I had zero friends. But what caused that to change was because I made the decision to change myself. I wanted to learn self-development. I wanted to meet new people. I wanted to have a great social network. I wanted to expand myself to outreach to other people. And that's exactly what I did. Nobody taught me this, but you have to go out there and willing to do it. So long story short, I got a good friend of mine, okay, and she's a lady and she was working with me at a restaurant, and I was talking to her and I was like, hey, you know what, don't you ever want more out of life? And she's like, yeah, I do. And I was telling her about a business I was working on, and she's like, oh yeah, can I do it too? I was like, yeah, of course. So I was showing her the routine of how to build a business and everything, and then all of a sudden she's like, you know what, I'm sorry, you know, my life is kind of busy. I was like, wait. Your life is busy? Can you tell me how your routine is? And she told me her routine. She's like, you know, I got 4 kids. I'm a single mom. My baby's daddy's here and there, and he's not paying child support, and I'm live with my parents. And I was like, okay, that's even more reason for you to break the chain of poverty. Okay. And she's like, I can't because there's so much I have to do. I was like, I know and I understand that, but you have to break the chain of poverty. If you don't want to live this lifestyle, you have to break the chain of poverty. You have to challenge yourself. Yes, you know, you got kids. Everybody does, but you got to schedule your work schedule correctly. You got to have that family time correctly. And then you got to have that personal time where you go develop yourself and become better. If you fall victim to your own disadvantage because you blame the stuff around you, such as parental factor or such as the environmental factor, then that's on you. But I'm here to tell you today that you could break the chain of poverty if you work hard. If you can't find a coach, go look for a coach that is willing to teach you how to break that chain of poverty. And you know what? They're out there. You got to keep an open mind. You got to keep an open heart, because there's so much more out there for you and your future. Don't let your future fall and continue that chain of poverty, guys. I know a lot of people say money do not buy happiness. It does not buy happiness. I'm going to say it. But I know what it does buy. It does buy the opportunity to make you happy. It doesn't buy happiness, but it buys the opportunity to make you happy, such as paying all your debt, such as don't have to worry about bills, such as helping your church or your community, such as helping your family, your parents. Money does a lot. It doesn't buy happiness, because happiness comes from within yourself. But money does pay and take care of a lot of stuff around you tangibly. So if you're able to figure this out and you want to not live the life of poverty anymore, you have to break the chain, and that starts with you. So with that said, guys, I hope this video helped you out, because I grew up very poor and very unfortunate financially, but today my life has changed based on just ethics and morals and what I've done in my life. You can as well, but you guys, you got to make that decision. Take care. I'll see you guys next time.